I think seriously, I may have just had the biggest sigh of relief. Okay, now I know that to be a US citizen is a privilege. And there are a lot of things maybe we don't like, but there's some things that we definitely have to agree we have it better than a lot of people in the world. However, I just had to, for the first time, maybe the first time in a very long time, and it would have been far more far less convenient, far more inconvenient for me to have had to do jury duty. So I just called in, and honestly, all day I was crossing my fingers. Please no, please no, please no. Even though I was a little bit curious, because I think the first time I did this years ago, I was in the middle of the Midwest in a very small town. And this would have been in a huge city in Phoenix and a whole different ballgame. But big sigh of relief is that I do not have to report. I have been released. How unfortunate are those words, those choice of words that they had. But let's get started and be grateful for all the privileges we have, no matter where you are. You've got some. All right, we're going to dive into this. And this is a gift. I hope you feel that this is a gift. It is intended as a gift. This could be so many things. Trust me, this could be a paid product. This could be a, freebie, and I could guard it and make you give me your email address in order to get it. But I'm going to just give it to you right here, and it'll be in the show notes if you like to see things in print. So you could go to the show notes at fitnessmarketingmastery.com and download it, or just print it or screenshot it, because I'm one of those people who I would do that. I need to review this. I am going to hand you the Health Fitness Professionals Launch Checklist right inside this episode. So as we round this corner right now, doing this live on the fourth quarter and entering the holiday season, this is one thing on every health and fitness professional's mind, or at least the profitable ones. It should be on yours. Having a great next year begins in the last quarter of this year. You have to put things in place. And whether it's your spring break boot camp or your summer shape up or your fall back on track program, if you're listening later, don't stop. Keep listening, because regardless, the launch checklist will apply if you are about to have a launch. So if you don't have the right steps in place before you open your cart, during the cart, and after the cart, you're not going to be as successful as you could. So if those words are a little foreign to you, I'm speaking, I suppose, marketing and sales. I'm speaking digital marketer. But literally opening the cart means you put it on sale. But when we're launching, we're talking about something that may be for sale all the time, but you're really calling attention to it. Like there's a quick start because maybe you're offering bonuses or you're offering some extra coaching in addition to just the do-it-yourself program. So it's important that you have this runway. And literally, you could think of it like a plane. Like a plane doesn't just take off and then they're in the air like a program starts. You have to sell people into the program. Well, first of all, you have to get the people to the airport. They have to be interested in getting on the plane, right? Before they even go down the runway. So that's really what a launch is all about, is the time leading up to the time you're actually going to open the cart, because you're setting them up for things I'll talk about later, but it involves what people are thinking and feeling and doing. And you want to make sure you're in front of the people doing the things that are the thing that most of your customers do right before they start with you. And to do that, to know that, I hope you're talking to them. You're reflecting. What were you doing? What had you tried before you started this program? It's a good thing to ask if you didn't. And yes, I have a 10-week puppy in the background. I hope it's not as distracting for you as it is for me. This is my life right now. This little man is just driving me crazy. Okay. Before we dive in, I want to ask you this. Do you have a goal? So with a launch, something that you want to launch, I want to start this program and here it is, and this is what I'm going to call it. Do you know how many items of this package or program that you want to or need to sell in order to make it worth your time? So especially if you're going to be coaching with a group live, How many people have to be in that group to pay you well for your time in kind of an equal opportunity? If you were going to pay someone else, pay another coach to do it with your qualifications and experience, what would that take? What would you have to pay them in order to do it? So you'll know what you have to make just to break even. You should make a profit. So don't forget, just because you're doing it doesn't mean, oh, I don't have to pay anybody for it. There's no labor. Yes, there is. There's yours. Your time is extremely valuable. And if you don't start thinking about it now as valuable, you're going to be in trouble down the road. So this is really important. Okay. So before we dive in, I want you to answer that question. So you may want to push pause. Do you have a goal? All right. So if you have the answer to that, you are ready. I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to She Means Fitness Business. It's a division of Voice for Fitness. And at Voice for Fitness, my entire team knows that you want to be an inspirational example to other midlife women. And in order to do that, you need a profitable health and fitness business. Even if that word profitable makes you cringe a little bit and you don't like the idea of having to make money, earn money, or sell things, you can give it away. You can scholarship people if that's what you want to do, but to really have power, voting power, you need to create money. You can do good with it, but you've got to be there if you want to really make a difference. And I know we can all help, we can volunteer, we can give, but in order to be in a place where you can give, I mean, don't you have bills, light bills, electricity, kids, all the things are going to take that you can provide for yourself, if not for others. And you can choose to give this money away if you want to do that. But I think you also deserve to have a life and a lifestyle that you love if you're doing something that benefits others. It doesn't have to be either or. Okay. And I believe that you deserve consistent, dependable revenue from clients that you love working with. And I know how it feels to maybe have the certifications, the heart, the desire to help people and share what you've experienced, how you feel, and not know where to begin or not know how to just get those first clients and that first little bit of traction so that you can feel like you're a little more confident, have a little more momentum, and know you're going in the right direction. And I can help. If you want to book a private call, we can do that. But right now, I just want you to go and download the Health and Fitness Professionals Scorecard. Having a puppy does this to your brain. I'm so sorry. It's not menopause brain for me. It's like mini Bernedoodle brain, unfortunately. But this too shall pass. So they're not 10 weeks old forever. So I want you to grab the scorecard. In 2 minutes, you'll be able to read where are the gaps. It will read much to you like this checklist. So I'm hoping this will do something for you that maybe inspire you to look at your business on a bigger level. So you can get one launch right. And if you get one launch right, you can get two launches right. And you can relaunch the same thing over and over, but do it better every single time. You can do this. You're going to be able to download that scorecard at the show notes today. So I will let you know exactly where that is at the end of the episode. So stay tuned here. You'll always have to be growing an email list and nurturing it, not just wishing you had when you go to launch something. Sales is a lot of things. It's relationships, but it's also numbers. You want to always be bringing people, more people in at the top of your funnel and moving them to the middle of the funnel and finally moving them either to a sale from the bottom of your funnel or moving them off of your list. And don't be afraid of that. Okay, are you ready? We're just going to dive into this. I'll talk about each one of these. This is the launch checklist for health professionals. Now, you could take this to your carpenter boyfriend, or you could take this to an equestrian coach, and it could also work for them potentially. But these are the things that I have used in working with the private sector in gyms, in launching courses that were like pilot courses that I taught. I was a very entrepreneurial senior lecturer in kinesiology, and I drove the department chair crazy because he was like, we don't care if they ever run the marathon. You can just teach the marathon training course. And I'm like, Oh, yes, we do. We do care. That's the people who are signing up want to actually follow through. He's like, well, that's not what teaching is. I'm like, oh my gosh, get me out of here, which is why I left academia before I left the private sector. Are you kidding me? We'll just teach them about it. They don't actually have to do it. Okay, that's a problem. I can't go down that rabbit hole today. Let's talk about this. The launch checklist for health professionals. Number one, before you do anything, you have to be prepared to track your numbers. You can do this on an old school. You can do this in a CRM if you have one. That's your customer relationship management platform. So I use Infusionsoft. Lots of people call it Confusionsoft, and there's a good reason for that. But I think all platforms are a little bit confusing. So I can't give a bad rap to Infusionsoft, or also known as Keep, depending on which one you have. However, you need some way to track how many people are coming into a certain funnel, how many people opted in for a certain freebie, and then how long did it take them before they actually bought something or fell off your list or stopped opening your emails. And all of that tells you something, tells you how good and juicy are your emails, how in alignment with the reason someone got on your list in the first place are those emails. Because if they're not in alignment, people are going to drop like flies. If they're not engaging, entertaining, and supportive, that are going to drop like flies. That should be a wake-up call to you. If you have people who opt in and opt out as soon as they've gotten that freebie, after an email or two, they're gone. They're not your people, number one, but you also didn't probably seduce them. I hesitated about using that word, but you are maybe flirting with them is a better word. So, because we don't want to seduce just for the purpose of seducing, right? We want to flirt with them because we want a long-term relationship with them. That's what you do. You flirt with somebody you're married to. I hope if you're going to stay married, you do, right? So that's the way it works. So you want to track your numbers. Before anything, set yourself up to track your Google Analytics. That means how many people landed on my website this month? How many people landed on this specific page? Where is the traffic to my website coming from? Where is the traffic that landed on a certain page coming from? You should know how many people landed on this opt-in page. That's where you have your freebie. I'm selling you about my freebie, and an opt-in place to put your email. And then you also have a thank you page directly linked to that freebie. You should be able to look at how many people landed on the page versus how many people landed on the thank you page. That tells you your conversion rate. So if it's not very good, fix it. That means maybe your image isn't good. Maybe the language you're using, the way you describe the freebie isn't good. Maybe you're not describing it in a way that anybody wants it, even though it's wonderful, right? And here's why you might do that, because you're a fitness or a health professional. You're not necessarily a marketer. However, you can become one. You can become one. You can learn the words that repel people. You can learn the words that attract people. You can learn more about your customer than anyone else knows. And the only way you do that is you buy time. You do interviews with them. You have a list of questions you ask them over and over and over. So you're getting their answers. When you get how they describe their problem in their words, not yours, when you get how they would describe how it's going to feel when they have the solution in their words, not yours, now you have some great marketing words. All that takes is conversations. I know you like to talk to people. You like to talk to people about these things that light you up. So ask them, talk to them. More importantly, listen to them. Ask them, listen to the answers. But set yourself up here by tracking numbers. Google Analytics, any special codes, if you don't have too much fancy going on yet, that's okay. But maybe you're providing people with a special code to get in, or you're creating a special page where you're asking a friend of yours to help send traffic to. So you're understanding, where's my traffic coming from? It came from a friend. It came from this friend. And I know that because they put in this code, or they went to this special page, or they were the only person I told about it this month. So track your numbers, figure out how you're going to do that. How many people visited the page? How many people visited your thank you page? How much revenue did you make? You want to set minimum things up like that. Next up, runway length. Let's talk a little bit about that. So if you are going to go to like for a big package, big pie in the sky, and you're going all the way to Japan from Phoenix, you're going to have to fly a long, long ways and have a lot of fuel. That means you're probably going to have a very expensive item. So anything over, say, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, you have to talk to people longer. You're not just going to have somebody opt in for a freebie and then say, hey, by the way, because you're interested in this, would you be interested in my coaching package? It's on sale now for $5,000 instead of $6,000. That's not a conversation that you ever should have with a pretty much a stranger, right? So unless you've already qualified them that they can afford it, that's why they're here, that's what they want, probably you're going to have a little more lead time. And to make a conversion like that, you need to talk to somebody in person, face to face, meaning face to face on Zoom. But that's going to be really important. So runway length is somewhat based on price. If you're just asking somebody to buy something that's $27, probably isn't going to take very much. You can give that to them in one or two options. In fact, I put it in a freebie and say, hey, if you already know you want help, here's this thing. You can download this right now for $27. 16-week program, you got it, and you can run with it. That's okay. It's benign. It's not in their face. It's not a nuisance. But, the $67 option, that's probably you're going to warm them up a little bit more. It's going to have a real reason why I would do that one. You got a $500, it's going to take a little bit longer yet. They don't know you at all. So think about how expensive is it and how long should it be, the runway length? So in this 2 to 4 weeks or 4 to 8 weeks, here's an idea. So right now we are just before November 1st, right? Or early part of November when we will release this. So with 2 months from now, a lot of us are going to be launching programs or have just launched programs we'll still let people into, right? For the new year. Well, that's probably a bigger program, isn't it? It's not just a $5 or $10 thing because we know people are kind of ready to dig in, get started. They're serious. So you're probably wanting to start now nurturing them. Don't you want them following you? Even if we're just taking them through the holidays with giving them healthier recipes. Things that they can do in Aunt Sue's bedroom when they're staying there for Christmas, a workout that they can do, right? I don't know what you were thinking, but that's what I was thinking, a workout they can do in Aunt Sue's bedroom. And you're going to nurture them all the way through and maybe how they can do yoga or good, healthy gifts that they can give so that they are following you. They're listening to your advice. And then when you are talking about your program, you're planting that seed. And you can also just benignly say, hey, and we are going to open up this best-selling program that we've got. It opens again here. Here's where you can click to get on the list. So you'll be the first to know that it comes out. All you have to do is be here. We always offer a little discount to those who are already on our email list. So if you want there, let them know. You get some kind of sneak peek. You get some kind of extra. You get a week early. You get something. Make it juicy for them to be on your email list. Don't treat them like everybody else if they are. But that's why you want to think about longer is better, especially right now, because there's just a lot of noise. It's going to be a lot of noise starting next week, the first week of November, open houses. Like you need this decoration, that decoration. This is the best Christmas cookie. No, that is the best Christmas cookie. And no, thank you. I don't want any. I'm on a diet, but let's do the cookie exchange though. Yeah, we want to do that because I need 24 different kinds of cookies in my house, right? You get it. So we know they're going to eat cookies. So do we want to give them a healthier option? You might choose to do that. That's a way of nurturing. So think about your runway length. Short little runway for a low cost thing. So let's say you're doing a 12-day challenge, a 10-day challenge. Okay. Probably don't need much runway for that if it's, $50 or if it's free. They do have to plan for their time and for their energy. But think about, how much, if it's very low cost and it's going to take low time, the less runway. All right. Next up is serve your top of funnel. So that's what you're doing in these 8 weeks. Top of funnel is this right now. You're listening to a top of funnel. Now, you might also be a Flipping 50 menopause fitness specialist. You might already be in our Well Pros mastermind and mentorship and ready for hot seats again this week on Thursday. But you may, for the first time, just be listening to this and listening to me to say, okay, can she help me with my business? That's top of funnel. So we don't know each other yet. We're getting to know each other. You're trying to decide, is this helpful for me? And you're just kind of taking free things and I'm offering them for the goodness of the fitness industry. But yes, absolutely. Am I hoping that you take a next step? I'm hoping you take a next step if you are somebody I would be excited to work with and that you will hit the ground running because I can't do the work. You're going to ultimately have to do that. But you want to look at top of funnel. That's a kind of stuff like a podcast or a blog, or maybe putting out a video on YouTube. Create, this cornerstone content that is stuff that you talk about. But I want you to think about this. So when I say cornerstone content, a lot of people will say, well, I have these 4 pillars. I always talk about sleep, and I talk about exercise and I talk about nutrition, and that's great. But that's too broad. So even at the top of your funnel, you might have one, really, this is your cornerstone content on sleep. One cornerstone content that's a blog or a podcast or a video on how do you exercise correctly? How do you get it right? And then another one on nutrition. So think about within each of those, right? Nutrition and exercise and sleep, you could go really deep. What supplements help sleep? What supplements you should maybe reconsider? Maybe you don't want to do. There's inner topics within each one of those. Dig a little and then you can keep writing, but come up with a cornerstone piece of content that gets you noticed. You can create this once and use it many, many times, right? So when we launch 12 weeks stronger programs. So these are our strength training programs. So how long have I done that? A long time. Like we've done this since 2017. So 6 years, going a little deeper than that even, right? Have we helped all the women in the world who need to take that course? No. So we're still promoting this same course and it's still safe and it's still the same exercises, but I don't want to sell another course. This is one course I pull out of my membership. But every time I go to launch it, I need to be talking about strength training again. So we pull the same content. We've had lots of content over those years before each one of those launches each quarter. There's tons of content in podcasts and in blogs and Flipping 50 TV shows and YouTube channels. All we have to do is line it up and share it strategically over those 4 to 5 weeks leading up to the program. People know me for the Stronger program because I have partnered with lots of great health, fitness, and medical fitness professionals. And so their audiences are watching and when do you open again, right? They're looking for it. But until you've built that reputation, you have to launch a little bit longer and a little bit harder. But I don't try any less hard. Why would I do that, right? We still want a lot of people. We still want to help a lot of people get in there. So serve those people, but once you create it, you can use it many times. It doesn't mean that next time you launch, you have to start all over again. No. Use the content you created. Maybe you update it if it needs it, but maybe you create one new piece each time. And then you have this whole stable of things you can rotate. I have some favorites. I have this 29 reasons why, everybody over 29 should be lifting weights, or it should be illegal not to, So, I love going to some of those things, and others I'm like, I created that. I know it's about strength and I don't know. I don't love it. Let's not use it. But you may not have that latitude right away, but you will. Then you proceed to the mid funnel stuff. So in the first 5 or 6 weeks, you're going to serve that top of funnel. Then you're going to start promoting a little more of the mid funnel. What happens there is when you're doing a podcast or when you're doing show notes or a blog on your website, for instance, then you're going to put a freebie on that page. Like if you liked this, you'll love that. And then let them click to an opt-in for a download, for a PDF, for an extra special master class that goes a little bit deeper than the free blog or podcast did. That's kind of what you want to be doing next is you want to get them on your email list by exchanging something a little bit more juicy. But they've consumed your free things, hopefully one or two or more things. Maybe they've listened to podcast episodes because they've been helpful. Then it's the next thing. What are you giving them that definitely I want this? Right now, you guys, right now, get yourself into gear. You could create a little holiday opt-in. So it's only going to be good for the next, 6 to 8 weeks. But you could use it again next year, and you're going to be here. You're going to be in business, right? So create it and make it a really good one. But you could create 3 healthy cookie alternatives, 3 things for Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner that everyone will love, but that you can eat guilt-free. Nobody needs to know it's healthy. You could create this and, make it a holiday theme, make it fun, and, allow people to be engaged in the holiday spirit, right? So giving you ideas here as we go. So top of funnel, remember, it's like this. This is a top of funnel piece, right? And I am giving it to you. You don't have to opt in. There's nothing here. Proceeding to the mid funnel, I did a mid funnel here. Did you catch it? The scorecard. So if you come and get the scorecard, you will opt in to get that. P.S. It's worth it, right? So there's one there, but it's very benign. And then bottom of the funnel, that's where somebody is actually on your email list and you're sending them through a funnel. You're just automating. You don't have to send an email and remember to do it. It's just an automated thing. You've sat down and you created it thinking, what will they be thinking now? And then a couple days later, I'm going to give this to them and be sure they consumed that. And they made those cookies on page 3. Did you try the orange truffle cookie on page 7? That was my mom's, but I made it a little healthier. You're going to send them an email like that so that they are like, oh, I missed that one. I haven't downloaded this yet. I'm going to have to go get it. And that's really what your emails are doing, is kind of prompting people along the way, nurturing them. We call that. And it really is, because we're all so busy. And yet it's like, oh gosh, yes, I want that. Okay. Next is start right now with whether it's top of funnel, mid funnel, or the bottom of the funnel when you're nurturing in their emails, the feel, think, and do related content. I alluded to this earlier. So in this, you have to be thinking, how am I priming them to feel? And that they may feel frustrated. They may feel like, here I am. I still am 5 to 10 pounds heavier than I want to be. We're going into the holidays. I wanted to enjoy the holidays and I wanted to show up looking thin and svelte at so-and-so's cocktail party or that Christmas wedding that we're going to. And I don't feel that way, so think about the frustration or the disappointment in themselves that they might be experiencing. When you write, you have to put that cap on, that lens on, and understand that's how they're feeling and tap into it. So you want to stir it up a little bit. If that's how people feel before they buy from you, typically like almost hopeless and frustrated and confused about what to do, those are pretty good ones, wouldn't you say? Most people do feel that before they go and get a trainer and really commit to do the work anyway. So discuss the problem they have, explain why they have that problem and why it's not their fault. Relieve them a little of that, guilt that they think they should be able to figure this out, and then provide the next step. And the next step, of course, is you. But you are going to hint very strongly that you have this next step, and that's when you'll start making your offers. I want you also to be sure that you are targeting a segmented list. So these two steps here are not kind of in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you have to be targeting a segmented list. If you have different reasons people got on your list, and then all of a sudden you're talking about holiday cookies and they got on because they had a bunion and you were helping them improve their gait, right? For instance, and all of a sudden you're talking holiday cookies. Now, all of us may love the holidays. All of us have been a kid. All of us have believed in Santa maybe for a while, but that's still a real curveball, right? It's not really in alignment unless somebody got in because they were interested in healthy eating, or you are broadening this. So it's a holiday survival guide that's talking about fitness practices during the holidays, talking about nutrition and sleep and avoiding depression. For a lot of people, the holidays are very depressing because inevitably, if you're, in your midlife, you have lost somebody, something kind of tragic happened at a holiday, or you're going through maybe the first holidays post divorce, and it's hectic and it's emotional, or you've lost somebody and this is the first year, or it's just it's that year with the empty chair for whatever reasons. So holidays can be tough, so talking about depression is certainly relevant, but make sure you have a good segue, that you're not just throwing somebody a curveball and taking a quick left when they thought you were going to go right. So target a segmented list. If you have a lot of reasons people made it to your email list, don't just send everybody everything. Make sure that they have certain tags and you're using those tags. And if what I just said is foreign to you, I want you to let me know, and I would love to have you in the Well Pros so that we can go over this, because this is important. And it's important to know, who do I ask about this, and who or where do I go and search within my CRM so I can figure this out, or who do I hire so they can help me get this set up right. Don't go any further without this getting right. And I'll tell you how I know. I went too far and had, I was changed from one platform to a different platform, and that there's always growing pains when you do that, when you convert your email list from one thing to a next thing. And then I did it again, and it's unfun. You're going to lose people, and you want to start correctly as well as you can. So part of why I'm here is just to prevent you from making the mistakes I made. You don't have to do that. There's enough people have done it before you. Okay, so here's what's next. These last two steps really have to do with after it's over. So the cart is closed and you're counting your money and you're counting the number of people and the number of hours that you'll be working. Break this all down. So review those numbers that you set up, but also I want you to make sure that you're breaking down what worked, what didn't work, what would you do differently, what would you do more of, what would you do less of as you went through. And, when you've created this content that I was referring to so that you can use it again and again, and, the next time you launch this program or a different strength training program, for instance, if it was strength content, I want you to put those things in some kind of a spreadsheet so that you can find it. So you just have the URLs readily available. Like, here's the stronger content, or here's our content list. And these things are categorized as, this is for our 12-week strength training program. This is for our 4-week yoga program. This is for our 4-week nutrition program. So put the content in a place where you can easily find it. Okay, so create a list. This is the very last step. Create a list of what you will test next. This is kind of an afterthought once you've done your post-launch breakdown. And if you have anybody working with you, you have a VA or you have a team, somebody who produces your podcasts, you have customer service, anybody who's in your team who's had anything to do with the launch, answering customer service questions, pull them in on this for what worked well, what went wrong. Have we fixed this thing that went wrong so it won't happen again? You're just looking at it from a learning standpoint. You're not pointing fingers at anybody. You're just all just saying, okay, what would make this go really much more smoothly next time? What can we fix? So this is, when you're in it and something breaks or something goes wrong, you're in the heat of the moment. It can get tense. But when it's over, then it's just time to say, okay, let's break this down and see how can we get better next time and fewer mistakes or fewer errors. Because look, where humans are concerned, there's always going to be human errors. In our team, I am the first to point out sometimes it's me. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. And I will do that. I send emails that are not perfectly syntaxed. The punctuation isn't always right. The links, fortunately, I don't get that one so wrong anymore. I used to get that one a little wrong because I didn't know what I was doing. But, sometimes the words will be misspelled or somebody will say, you should probably proofread your work because your work is really good. It's really important work, but sometimes you need to proofread. I will have one or two helpful customers type in those questions. Fortunately, I have somebody else in customer service who now answers those because I should not answer those. That's where I got really smart and hired Becky. So if she happens to be listening, there you go. All right. So I want you to know this. You are a business. You're not a newspaper or you're not a magazine. So when you go into a launch, you're selling something. Make an offer on a regular basis to your email list. And when people unsubscribe because you did, remember that they were not going to buy, probably ever. People who may stay on your list and not buy, even though you're making offers, realize that you are in business and that it's okay for them to let those offers go by. And they may decide down the road that they will buy. But as long as you continue to offer value, you're not just emailing when you want to make a sale. You're nurturing them, creating a relationship. They will buy when they're ready. Celebrate that you weeded people out, though. If they opt in off your list, say goodbye and not good riddance. It's just you are not what they wanted, or they didn't want to actually grow their business. So if that's what you're talking about and they left when you started talking more about it, it's okay, right? That's it, step by step. You can use this list to start right now, no matter what time of year you're listening. And if you're not already in our Well Pros Mastermind and Mentorship, then consider joining us. If you're lost with the pricing, the offers, the how to position yourself, or knowing what's worth your time and what's not, I will put the link so you could join. If you get in soon enough, you can get in at the founder's rate. If not, those spots are taken and the link you will go to will take you to the regular rate. It's $79 a month. And I promise you that a coaching call with me, one coaching call, costs 3 or 4 times that. And you're getting an entire month and an hour of time 3 times a month, not only with me, but with a collaboration of other individuals. So you will hear their questions, hear the answers to those, and they will also chime in on this is working for me. So in answer to your question, you will have a whole collaborative of people helping you. All right, I'm going to give you a real quick summary of this checklist. Are you ready? You have to remember you're going to set yourself up for tracking your numbers. Your runway length, your launch length will depend on how big a price ticket is on it. Number 3 is serve the top of the funnel first. Like that's your blogs, your podcasts, your videos. If you already have them, just be sharing them more consistently on your social media sites, okay? And in your email to your already existing list. Then proceed to your mid funnel. So, this is where if you're nurturing those newer people really well, and this means you are never, ever, ever, repeat after me, never, ever, ever using your timeline on Facebook or your timeline on Instagram to sell. Don't promote your programs there. You're killing yourself. Your organic traffic dies when you do that. If you want to promote on those places, do paid traffic, make it an ad because customers understand the difference when you do that. But if you all of a sudden you're like a friend and then you're not, you're selling a program to them, that makes no sense and you will not grow your channel. So don't do that. But you proceed to ask them for an opt-in. Hey, if you like this, you might like that. You can click here to get my free ebook. Here's 2 tips I'm going to share about sleep. The rest of them, I've got a dozen more. They come in the book. Here's where you can get it. So benign ways. Then bottom of the funnel, that's where they're on your email list and you have those automated campaigns that maybe over the course of 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, if it's a big ticket item, nurtures them, sends them an email every 2 or 3 days with some juicy thing, some gift, some giving them some breakthrough information, a new video, a new cheat sheet, a new way of asking clients for money, for booking clients, for consultations, whatever it is that you know your customer wants, right? Then next is you start with the feel, think, and do related content. So remember, your job when you're creating content is to get into their head. You're going to target your segmented list, not just send the same email to everybody, but know who got on your list, how they got there, what they wanted, and serve those people directly related to your program. And post-launch breakdown. Once the cart closes, there's no more sales. It's all over. You're going to break it down what worked and what didn't. So don't just go with your tail between your legs saying, I didn't get anybody at my webinar, so I didn't sell anybody into the program. Well, don't go away thinking you need to start over and do a different webinar. No, you probably need to think of a new title for your webinar. You need a new opt-in page for your webinar. You need new descriptions and messaging for that webinar. You need to know how to present an offer. Do you know that? And then last but not least, create a list of what to test next when you launch again while it's on your mind. Don't wait and do this later. So we launch a 12-day Blissmas program at Christmas time. And we only do that in December. So if we waited until next, October, November to start talking about, oh yeah, do you remember what happened? We had a problem last year. Well, no, nobody remembers what happened last year. So we have to do this, on December 15th. Once it's over, we need to look at it and say what worked, what didn't work, what could have been better, how do our numbers stack up compared to the last 2 years? How did we do? So you've got to be willing to look at all of that right away. All right, I hope that was helpful, but this is big. This launch checklist you can use over and over and over and over again, and you should, and you'll get better and better and better at each one of these steps. So what are you waiting for? The world needs you right now more than ever, and show notes for today so that you can come over and take a look and just put your eyes on this checklist will be at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/launch checklist. And what are you waiting for? Let's do this. It's going to be a great 2024.